So, welcome back. This is part 2 of our Slouching Towards Bedlam stream. Uh, in the first episode, in our first stream, I suddenly remembered that Bedlam is a nickname for a mental hospital originally called Bethlehem, which I should have figured out a lot sooner, but didn't. It does come up in the game. So the whole slouching towards Bedlam thing is almost certainly a birth metaphor. Because of the old Yeats poem, things fall apart, the center does not hold, something, 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 rough beast slouches towards Bethlehem to be born. So, based on that, and the fact that our main character seems to be having either extreme social anxiety, where he thinks like a computer, shut up, phone, or has some bizarre voice thing jumping into his head. I'm pretty sure I know where this is going, but it's all about how it gets there. So, let's actually load my saved game, because we're still stuck here on the office. No, don't want to... No, I don't want to save over my saved file. I want to open my save file. Thank you, Frotz. Failed null, restore back confusion. Yes, unfolding backwards, restore, renew, point, time, space. There's an SCP inside my head. I know there is. So where are we? We are in flat 2D. Despite being small and cluttered with bits and pieces of electronics, this one-room flat gives the impression of being quite clean and hygienic. No dust or dirt lurk in its bright corners. The east wall holds a mirror and is neatly lined with evenly spaced picture frames. A large table, clearly a workshop space, takes up the west wall beneath an arched window. A shadow stretches lazily from the window across the floor. The flat's single exit lies to the south. Triage rests nearby obediently. Match was the worst I've seen in ages. Okay, so everything is supposed to be in a British accent, but I can't do that. All right. So Triage here is not a box but a cube. There is no hinge. He has a grid on top, divided into a myriad of tiny cubes. He sits on 4 black rubber wheels, attached by a set of brass leggings that seem capable of telescoping downwards. Just small emerald set in the side. Triage Mark III. So Triage Mark III, if you weren't here last time, is essentially our robot. You can point at things and he'll give you a slightly confusing description of them. Okay, so apparently I left my ethereal magnetophone on at the end of the last game when I saved, because I'm getting chatter. The stuff in quotation marks is chatter from the radio. So, now that we're all up to speed, at present, the locations I know we can go to are my flat, the hospital, and... Actually, I don't remember. Fleet Street. That was it. Fleet Street. I'm playing a character with amnesia, and I don't remember what happened last game. So, I'm way into character right now. Okay. Let's examine the mirror. I don't think anything will have changed, but yeah. The 3 heavy oak frames lie beside the mirror. Containing picture, young man standing beside the Charing Cross Medical School, junior rugby team, graduation day. The man in each picture is a shadow of the face reflected in the mirror. A voice rises out of the static, then fades away before it makes itself clear. I only understood the desire to look. Okay, I don't remember what this stupid thing is called. What's in the inventory right now? Puzzle box, which is closed. Sandalwood box, which is closed. Brass rod, manual, 2D. To spy on us! They could be listening now! Our privacy is at stake, I tell you! Oh, Victorian steampunk dude, you have no idea. Okay, examine the table. Okie doke. I need to read my manual again. I don't remember what I'm supposed to say. Calling CQ. That's what I'm supposed to say. Everyone else is... I will meet you in the usual place. We must be careful. I fear my father suspects. Oh, my darling. If only I remembered what the usual place was. Come to think of it, I don't remember what my character's name is. uh... Oh, man. I'd walk before I get into one of those public hansom cabs. The men who drive them, they're lunatics. Turn the thing over as soon as turn a corner. I've seen men crushed and all the driver cares about is the condition of his cab. So I guess Beck is running these, huh? Topical. Sort of. Toronto humor. Alright. Receiving lawn for GC. Okay. I'm going to type a hint just because I don't know what's going on right now, and I've kind of forgotten what I did last game. The logos. Never mind. Let's, Okay, so Triage has absolutely no idea what the magnetophone is. Cool. That's right. Dr. Thomas Xavier. Right. Okay. Press transmit. Wondering about that machine killing a man thing. Okay. Yeah, we're going to close the valve. This thing is steam operated, by the way. How is everybody? Chat's real quiet. Okay. Well. Oh, and in case you were wondering about the shadow, those of you who weren't here for it before, the elongated shadow of Newgate's noose crawls slowly across the floor. Dun dun dun. Alright, let's go west. Okay, so he doesn't know what the gallows are. Oh, okay. A wide, flat plain of solid wood, above which, at eye level, hangs the noose. Just below, there's the thin outline of trapdoor, perhaps 10 by 8. Directly beside the stairs, off to the left, an automaton waits unmoving. So that's creepy. The automaton stands directly beside the stairs, a grotesque parody of a man. Its heavy torso, only partially enclosed in black robes, grows right from the stage floor, the cogs and gears that serve as its organs exposed. Its massive arms grip an iron switch. Its head, drooping downwards in a mockery of sleep or death, wears a permanent executioner's mask. A red button sits on the platform directly beside it. Oh, this this is going to be delightful. Do I press the jolly red button? I do. The button begins to glow. Beside it, the automaton pulls itself upright with a whir and a groan as the floor rumbles with the distinct sound of a steam engine springing to life beneath the stage. Triage doesn't recognize it either. So the automaton doesn't speak. So is there anything different about it now that I've awoken it? No, not much. The button stops glowing as both the automaton and the unseen steam engine shut off. Okay, I'm getting out of here. This is a gallows. Gallows are creepy. So I can't seem to do anything with Newgate, which is just fine. I don't really want to do anything with the prison. Enter the cab. Entered. Faced with the task of climbing into the cab, Triage is more than up to the challenge. Raising and extending the first two wheels, then the others, it clambers inside beside. Inside beside... Oh, whatever. Not gonna question it. Oh, funny. My video window's turned all red again. Wasn't like that earlier. Well. Alright, going to Bedlam. The trip feels none too comfortable, but the cab's interior gives insulation against the tumult of London, etc., etc. So, what are the statues? Category non-living. Statues. Utility unknown. N part. Raving Mania and Melancholy Mania. Created by Robert Hooke. Designer of original hospital. Ooh, okay. Robert Hooke. That might be important later. What happens if I go southeast? Oh. Right, I keep forgetting that I have to actually exit the cab. Southeast. No! The cold again, and a numbness of the body, and an inability to resist. Whatever this rough beast slouching towards Bedlam to be born is, it seems to have severe social anxiety. Ah, James. James doesn't know anything about Robert Hooke. Okie doke. I'm looking at the puzzle box. Right, okay, so the tree design on the box, yeah, okay, so the tree design on the box is the Tree of Life. So I looked up from last time, and there is no Sephiroth. The Sephiroth in the case of this, and the Kabbalic Tree of Life, is each of these items that it says along the bottom. So Kether, Bina, Chakma, Gavara, Jessid, Hod, Teperoth, Netzach, Yesod, Malkuth. I hope I didn't summon something just then. Speaking of the SCP, Keter is the one at the very top of the Tree of Life, and that's the one that the SCP uses to designate the most dangerous of SCP creatures. Which is fun. I'm going to grab a hint here, if I can. Like a really small one. Hint. Okay, slouching towards Bedlam is at heart a mystery, so answering that question is the entire point of the game. Look around, explore, experiment, take things, read things. The remaining hints are a list of items, locations that might help make things clearer. If you wish outright spoilers, check under the section called The Logos. The Logos or the Logos? I don't know which. I think the Logos, because, you know, that's like some ancient language for knowledge. Probably Greek. Oh, hey Dronin. The UHS site? I'm not sure I'm familiar. 7 hints left. I've found the sandalwood box. I've listened to all the cylinders. I think I've figured out which one was Cleve's cell. Actually, yeah. I forget which one Cleve was in. He was in the northern wing. Oh. Did I misspell sandalwood? I probably did. Oh, sandalwood. Oh, that's what... Okay, so the UHS is probably based on this system as opposed to the other way around. Like, this is basically running a game on the Infocom Adventure Games engine. And that had the built-in hint systems as well. So, sandalwood. Apparently I can't spell sandalwood properly. Okay. Play January 22nd. I don't remember what January 22nd was. Okay. Southwards through Newgate, past the slaughterhouse that was the market. Mechanist. So that's not the right one. Hold on, I need to check my scroll back. Burp. January 22nd, January 8th is the other one. Okay. Okay. Let me know if I need to stop and let you guys read the scroll back, but I've been through this a bunch already. Okie doke. So Cleve was in the North Wing. I did all of this last time, and I really ought to remember. Oh, yeah. Panopticon Key 6. Point at Rob. Rob's not here, man. Right. Okay. Oh, James, you're so helpful. Mainly here for the soothing hike. This is soothing. Okay. I'll accept that for now. I'm here for the tea and the frustration. Okay, so I believe east was the way to the Panopticon. Nope, that was the way to the archives. Do I have this backwards? I do. I've made my map entirely backwards. I am so good at adventure games, y'all. Okay. So let's see here. Examine console. Okay. So the console is complex, divided into several discrete sections. It has a diagram, which is a blueprint. A small slot for dispensing of paper tape lies beside it, and above the diagram is a prism viewer. Okay, so getting deep, deep into the weeds here. Okay. Okay, so 3 o'clock. So let's see here. 3 o'clock is the administration building? Hold on. No, I've got this right. I'm just insanely left-right confused tonight. All right. The brass rod slips easily into the keyhole. Then of its own accord it begins to turn, first clockwise, then counterclockwise. The floor rumbles for a minute. There is an odd sense of movement. The light beneath administration and its connecting corridor goes out. A corridor at 12 o'clock lights up as the key stops moving, as does its northeast room. The button labeled A begins to glow. Horrible. A noise. No. Numbness. Cold. Arms. Hands. Finger. No, wait. It is a B that is glowing, and this is the eastern room of the lighted corridor. The room seems to have subtly changed. The sound of 3 drips of water falling in quick succession comes floating across the console. Let's look at the viewer. Shaped much like a periscope, it contains a mirrored prism manipulated by handles on either side. The viewer is lit, showing the following scene. A room slowly filling with water. A broken pipe lies at one end, slowly dripping into an ever-growing pool. A broken and stuck door lies on the western side. Okay, so north and east. I guess this is Cleve's. Maybe this isn't Cleve's cell. Okay. Press A, the A button. No. No, seriously. Press the A button. On the diagram, you silly machine. Press A. No? Okay, fine. Press C. So C is the southeast room. Yeah, something really doesn't want me to press that button. Southwest. The mirrors in the viewed room must have shattered, for the view is diffracted into 1,000 refracted shards, each one showing gray stone. I have not found a single ending yet, Silly Snow Fox. I've been at this for about half an hour now, and mostly I've been retracing steps and babbling. Like, I get the poetic reference here. I get it. Bedlam is a nickname for Bethlehem. That's actually, I think there's a backstory there about a real hospital named Bethlehem, but I'm not going to get into it right now. So and with between that and the reference to a Dr. Yates, I've read that poem even if I don't remember the name of it. So what I've determined so far is that there is some kind of technological demon with severe social anxiety disorder trying to be born through me. Or at least hide itself in my brain for some reason. Haven't quite figured out why yet. Press F. A room whose northern wall has completely collapsed, revealing empty space with an outer wall and ceiling visible in the distance. The floor is covered in strewn rubble. The sound of blowing wind echoes across the room, then is suddenly cut short. From the gurgling sound emanating from it, the listening tube's terminus has momentarily become submerged. Alright. Talk to voice inside head. Meh. So I'm not allowed to resist, apparently. Resistance is futile. It is not in the parser. Okay. Press down. Unable to. Okay. So I haven't figured out what to do with the Panopticon yet. It will not let me look into what I presume to be Cleave's room. What madness is this? What madness? I mean, that's literally madness. We know that. Oh, he decided to look at the puzzle boxes buttons. Okay, whatever you like, triage. Category non-living tool, utilization storage, part complex mechanism detected, engraving plus writing equals Kabbalah, tree of life, Yggdrasil, blah da da, buttons equals Sephiroth. Oh, I should have that's... He told me that last time. I should have realized that the buttons were the Sephiroth, so... Okay. Nope. Point at A button. As far as triage is concerned, all buttons refer to the ones on the puzzle box. Which, to be fair, I haven't yet opened. Oh, point at A. Panopticon, blueprint, part, activate via proper key, choose cell via buttons A to F representing same named cells. Okay. So triage has just told me how to work the thing, which is pretty much what I already knew how to do. I haven't been able to retrieve anything from the archives yet. And I'm not sure how. Okay, let me try. Hold on. Well, before that happens, I'm gonna try. Let's see. There are several different paths up the tree of knowledge. But without reading this really deep into Wikipedia or websites I don't want to be in, I'm just going to try... I'm going to try and brute force it. Okay, Malkuth. Press Yesod. Yesod is Dosi spelled backwards. Oh, mercy. Press Tippereth. Okay. Okay, Snowfox, if you'd like to give a hint, please, by all means. Because otherwise you're just going to be watching me wander around pressing buttons for a while. Oh, come on, computer. Drip. I have not died yet that I know of. That I know of. Although the loud drip is really getting to me. Huh. Oh, I guess it must be Chokma that it's supposed to be. Well, the only way I can think of to die right at the moment is to go up the gallows and hang myself, and that's dark even for this game. The buttons on the puzzle box and the buttons on the console have absolutely nothing to do with each other. I just got distracted and started futzing around with them. Okay. You don't think the okay, so the gallows doesn't work? Yeah, I've heard about I've heard the I have heard and made snarky comments about the cab drivers in this city. So you're smart enough to put me in the cab and take me home when I just type go home, but you're not smart enough to take me out of the cab when I want to go somewhere. Bravo, game. No. See, I could, if I wanted to, go up to the gallows here. A short flight of stairs, but the walk up to the gallows is still a long one. Alright, okay. Let's just, This is a bad plan. Okay. So hanging self does not seem to work. Frankly, this is giving me all kinds of Nope vibes, and I don't feel comfortable with attempting to do this, so I'm just going to leave. Um... Maybe? Maybe put the head in the... like I say, I'm not super comfortable with it. I mean, that's certainly an ending. But I'm not super chuffed about anything that requires me to commit symbolic suicide in a video game. Okie doke. Oh. Oh! Most of the ways you can die in the game are technically suicide. Maybe I'm not super happy about having started this game then. That's a bit much. Sound, color, light, movement. Smithfield is a riot of sensation, claustrophobic and cold. Over two numbers spreading thing far too. Place is a whirlwind. Too much motion and too much thought and voices and words. No, no, hurt many echo far. No, no. The cold is out there, freezing will and body both. Better to stay here in the quiet and warmth. Yes, better to stay. Yes, back, hide. Yes, now only hide. East, north, west. I'm going to end up murdered by a monster inside my own head that has horrible, crippling anxiety. That's what's going to happen. I've already been up to 1428. I've been in the attic flat quite a bit. All right. So the bed. You understood the desire to sleep, but you don't recognize the verb. Well, I kind of figured that might be the case, which is why I came back here. Examine steam tubes. I only understood the desire to examine the sink. Eh. Triage gives the solution. You know what? I should just dive into the hints again. Because at this point, this has been going on a while. Doot. Is there an engraving around? Yeah. So, yeah. If you point at the engraving, triage just gives the same description he does if you point at the box. Oh, is there anything else triage can do? Well, examining the engraving is what tells me that it's, the Kabbalic Tree of Life. Okay. Get a squirrel to nibble on it. Yeah. That would be good. That would be good. Get the... Oh, I don't even remember the name of that mythological reference. I mean, I honestly ought to be able to brute force the sequence. I've got the Sephiroth open in front of me here. But does it go from top to bottom or bottom to top? Let me examine the planks. Maybe maybe the guy was nice enough to hide the solution next to his puzzle box. No. Okay. Nothing in the space. If I could spell ceiling, that would help. Nothing visibly special about the ceiling, which in every Dungeons and Dragons game ever would cause the players to spend like 10 minutes just rolling to examine it. Only 4 buttons, eh? Well, there's no way to get down the Tree of Life from the top in only 4 buttons. Ah. Who does the box belong to? I actually don't know who the box belongs to because I just sort of wandered in here. I don't know whose apartment this is. Yes, the buttons on the box sound familiar. No, I have not examined the writing in Cleve's cell because I can't get into Cleve's cell. I can't look at Cleve's cell. So I need to try and figure out how to do that. Okay, yeah, I figured that part out. I can enter the rooms. Since when? Yeah, okay. Yes, I got that part. Yeah, got that part. Got that part. Okay. Huh. How did I end up stuck in here now? Okay. Has this always been something I could do and I just never noticed? Put Ron in the keyhole. Oh! Bloody hell, I never noticed there was an exit here. Now I feel really stupid. Were it not for the complex's enclosing walls and ceilings, this hall would certainly be left at the mercy of the elements. No surface stands unbroken or unpitted. The eastern wall is set with a series of labeled doorways. To the northeast lies A, to the east B, to the south C. The western wall is the same, with the southwest is D, west is E, and the south northwest is N. The doorway to the south is simply labeled Panopticon. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I didn't spoil too much of the game for myself. I just, had to be told that there was an exit in a room that specifically told me there was an exit. Alrighty. So let's go to D. Room 6D, an old room that, while crumbling around the edges, is fairly sturdy and secure. Its dusty floor holds nothing more than a cot and a crumbling chair. A set of gaslight fixtures hang off the wall, blocked and in disrepair, and a door lies to the northeast. The walls are covered with writing. Okay. Damn it, no! I don't want to have to solve codes. That's too much thinking. Alright. In the wall's current states, it must not have been too difficult to scratch a message into, but the preciseness of the writing is still impressive. Various phrases are carved in a generally circular pattern around an intricate set of lines and circles at the center, which is inscribed... Right. So that's a code. B W H T F G W H T F G B Z X W H T. Well, WHT seems to recur quite a bit. Oh. Logos en Sof. En ein nothing. Without form. Source, Hebrew, Kabbalah. Boundless, limitless. Creator, generative, deity, second, God, demiurge, Gnostic. Association found, Trinity, Notcarian, Gematria, Temuria, all Kabbalistic references marking at center support possible code or cipher, and a little child 2693, Gematria, numerology, unknown system, with no vowels, B equals 1, C equals 2, and a little child, machine, shell, machine, Kabbalah reference, searching, cipherist, enlightenment as information data. Finally, seeming almost pleased with itself, the machine quiets down, displaying center lettering code cipher equals Malkuth is in Keter, as Keter is in Malkuth. Kabbalic cipher Man is in God as in man. It does give me the solution, but... Oh, I did it backwards. That's what went wrong. There we go. Then the seam of the box opens slightly. The box appears to be unlocked and openable now. God damn it, my spelling is really bad tonight. The box opens, revealing a letter, a diary, and a primitive copy of a key. Well, at least I didn't have to actually solve the puzzle. Folded but unsealed, it was apparently never sent. The letter reads, "Brothers, yes, I call you brothers. Though due to my age and alleged lack of knowledge, you have denied me entrance into your order. But as Seneca said, nullum secalium magnus ingeus clausum est." Do I have to get out Google Translate for that? Whoops. I accidentally scrolled it. Let's read the letter again. All right. I am proud to offer you indisputable proof that my generation is no exception. As you must well know by now, I discovered the existence and nature of your enclave during my time at university. Excited by tenets so similar to my own, the celebration of intellect, the recognition of information as an entity rather than an idea, and the embrasure and development of new technologies to unlock the mysteries of the universe itself, I left my feeble schooling, gathered my few worldly possessions, and came to study at your collected feet. But trapped in your antiquated and outmoded ways, clinging more to superstition and myth than logic and reason, you refused me. Oh, you commended my ability to solve puzzles and patted me on the head like a dog that has returned a thrown ball. You allowed me to work for one of your lesser number, mindlessly churning out one insignificant apparatus after another, a mere journeyman in your archaic system. Undeterred, I remained nearby, studying where I could, observing in secret and working towards one goal, proving my worth and value to you. Tonight, I have the rare and singular privilege to tell you that not only have I proved, beyond doubt or measure, my value, I have exceeded you. I have succeeded where you have failed, and have gone further than you ever dared dream. I have leapt the Sephiroth in one bound from Malkuth to Keter, Kythios and Hologos, whatever that means. I have learned that word, brothers, echoing across eternity. I have touched the mind of God, of information pure and unsullied by the mere mind of man. My contact was brief but glorious. The brevity of it was, I'm sure, due to the crude and simple nature of your mechanisms. The resulting damage was, of course, regrettable, but once I relate to you the breadth and wonder of my experience, I think you will agree. Exodus acta probat. Whatever that means. I eagerly await your response, brothers. Of when shall we meet to discuss my entry into the Order and our ascendance upon the wings of this discovery towards a transcendence future? Veritas lux mea, my brothers. I think that's truth in my soap. Cleve G. Anderson, scientist, cipherist. Cool. Okay. Yeah, Triage doesn't know anything about the letter. Heavy and unwieldy, its rough surface gives evidence to the fact that this key is in fact a copy. If you detect a note of sarcasm, run. Okay, let's see. Read diary. Once leather-bound and elegant stitched, the journal looks as though it has seen better days. Some pages have been scribbled over to the point of illegibility, while others have manic messages scrawled over the neat, deliberate hand recorded there. Many pages have been removed entirely. The diary is undated, although many distinct entries can be made out. I have made a copy of Dumont's basement key. Okay, so that's where the key is for. Okay. Yay! It is primitive, but it will serve. I have continued to listen in on their meetings, but having actual access to the equipment below will make the vast difference between theory and practice. She has mentioned the shop will be closed shortly for her little excursion to the countryside. That will be the time to move. They have their fingers in every pie imaginable, it would seem. I have heard them speak last night of some that had come close to discovering their secrets and what must be done about them. So many secrets, so little actual learning. How full of themselves they are, their workspace so neatly arrayed in rows. I see now much of their talk was simply that. They have made a most holy calling into a social club, a place of dilettantes and bored businessmen with a philosophical and mechanical bent. They have performed their ceremonies for so long that they no longer understand their true meanings. They have forgotten to reach their own sworn goals. Side note, if you've never heard of a book called Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, I think that's what it is, or it could be Mr. Norrell and Jonathan Strange. I don't know if I'd recommend looking up the book, but check out the miniseries. It's real cool. Parallels as well is all. They've forgotten how to reach their sworn goals. I shall change that. My calculations are almost complete. Pages upon pages of equations and diagrams fill every corner of my room. I have taken to connecting the engines in the shop together after hours, running my own scenarios and simulations. It will work. It must. I have seen the face of God. How powerful, then, their little engines, to be able to rend the veil of the temple and reveal the Holy of Holies beyond. It was with an unnatural calm that I set the gears and knobs, aligning the energy just as my calculations demanded. It was as though my whole being knew all my toil and effort had not been in vain. I have not the words to express the joy that surged through me as I flicked the final switch. The whole appeared slowly. So slow at first that I did not understand it to be a hole. The air above the pedestal warped slightly, the air bending, the light as if it were a lens. And then the warp became a bend, a break. I cannot explain it, but it was in that moment I knew I was looking into a place fundamentally different than the universe I knew. Under my breath, I whispered the I whispered the order's motto, for that is what had come to be. For that is what had come to be. That's a terrible motto. It's not even in Latin. My words hung in the air a moment, drifting across the opening, to be echoed against the far wall of creation. Language fails me. The words, they echoed. Yes, they returned, but they were not unchanged. Time stretched and pulled like the space above the pedestal, and I knew in a moment my words had touched the word, the Logos. Oh boy. That is all I can call it. What else can I call language given sentience, an idea that breathes, a thought that thinks itself? The whole of the space, universe beyond the rift was both its home and itself, part and whole. Oh crap, it's the Beyonder. And then, in a joyous, horrible moment, God, the universe, the Logos, awoke. Linear time fell apart, a second, an hour, a year, an eternity. I cannot say how long it took. For the past and present and future were as one within it. The Logos had always been and would always be, and my reaching out to it in this moment was as a grain of sand on an infinite beach. And yet it responded. In that moment it heard me. The response was immediate and incomprehensible. I was spoken. I did not listen, I did not hear. I, myself, was spoken. I remember it now as vibrations echoing across the air, across time, across myself. I carried them as waves, as if I were made of water or ether. They penetrated me, passed through me. In that eternal moment, I and Logos touched and were one. And then the sparks, the smoke, the machines, long overloaded, broke down one by one in a shrieking of spinning gears and twisting metal. Axles broke, machinery shifted, and then, instantly collapsing upon itself, the door I had opened slammed shut. The force of it lifted me upwards, flinging me across the room to the cellar's far wall, and for a long time I knew nothing more. I awoke to find my hands and arms mysteriously burnt, the back of my head throbbing. I reached to touch it, and my hand came back damp with blood. The engines were nothing more than so much melting slag. Of the whole, there was no sign. Before I dragged myself up the stairs, I once more whispered the words that brought Melkoth and Kether together into the same place, and thought I heard the faintest ghost of an echo, a wash of a ripple across the air, but the rest was silence and smoke and burning metal. Nice. Hello, camper. I am squeezing the juice. More and more juice. And always to remember to enjoy the sauce. I have healed well enough in body, but my mind is a broken thing. It races, thinking on what has happened, running through each tiny detail over and over in the hopes of understanding some small part of what has happened. I have written the Order a letter. I shall leave it for Dumont to find. I am sure she shall have words for me when she sees the state of her cellar. But once I explain, show what I have done, they will come to understand that in one moment the world has changed forever, and all of our places in it as well. I have not left the flat since I awoke. I stumble about, pace endlessly. My mind feels more fragmented with every moment. Often I awake, not having remembered sleeping or passing out. Perhaps I am sleepwalking? My body, too, works against me. I feel sudden chills, numbness in my legs, my hands. What is wrong with me? Oh, fun. I awoke, screaming, uncertain of why. I do not remember my dreams. How long was I raving? The flat is in a shambles, things tossed every which way. What is this? What is language, words, but words I have never heard and cannot understand. My throat is stripped dry. Is this the Logos, still with me? Does it speak the language of angels through my lips? But if this is as angels speak, why am I so afraid? Dude, have you seen angels? Have you ever actually read what they look like in the Bible? Dudes are terrifying, like rings covered in eyes and things. Everything has fallen apart. My mind, my body, time, the world. I'm beginning to understand. I have destroyed my notes. Man was never meant to... Oh, come on. Man was never meant to. This experiment must never be repeated if humanity is to survive. I have burned all my research, though it pained me to do so. The noise in my head grows louder. The words, they never stop coming. There are things man was not meant to know. Okay. I'm going to open Google Translate. I see more German. I see more Latin in my future here. Quam terribilis est haec hora. How fearful is this hour indeed. I understand all. if I can still lay claim to I. I have moved through time, backwards and forwards. I have tried every way imaginable to make it not so. Once, once I tried to make it finally so. I said the words. Ironic that the Order's hubris should be so. Our motto is now like rays of the sun melting the wings of poor Icarus as he plunges into the sea. Curse those words forever. May no man speak them again. Oops. I know what I must do. They have come for me, as they have come for me before, and they will come again. I will let them take me to Bedlam. I will let them lock me away from the world so that that which is in me will never escape. Poor Xavier, my sweet, kind keeper, how sad your eyes look. But you will never understand, will you? You will scribble your notes and think on your theories, and it will all come to the same end. You shall keep me in a tiny cell for the rest of my days, and I shall hope that shall be penance enough. They are battering at the door now. I shall hide this and wait for them. May whatever God there is have mercy upon my soul. Okay. Let's see. Northeast. A room that has been stripped almost completely bare. Its only pretense at furniture is a small, hard chair thrown off to one side. A single exit lies to the southwest. There is a faint sound emanating from some pipework near the south wall. Some exposed pipework can be seen along the room's southern wall, and from within emanates the faint sound of a cricket's chirping. A faint, shrill sound can be heard from a poorly concealed pipe in the corner. This game, this game, which was partly inspired by a poem, also inspired a poem. That's cool. Oh boy, okay. Okay, so there's a loud whiny noise in here. Not sure what that is. Actually, hold on. I'm going to read the letter one more time just so I can look at it in this. Okay, so let's see. Check the scroll back here. Okay, so nullum saculum edit closet est. No great minds closed. Okay, that helps now. So where's that set? The Chi, there it is. Chi Theos and Hologos. And God in the ground. And God in the... I'm pretty sure that's not right. Uh, Exitus acta probat. The outcome approval. And Veritas Lux Mea is probably, yeah, it's probably like In Truth soap. The truth is my light. Cool. He is such a jerk. Okay. Okay, so A, D, and what was the other one? Okay, so let's see. I've been in C, I've been in A, Southwest. Oh, right, that's the one I've already been in. And Southeast is C, so let's go to Southeast. A room whose floor seems in danger of collapse. A hole has started forming in its center and the edges slowly slope towards it. A single exit lies to the northwest. The hole is approximately the size of a clenched fist, and beyond only darkness can be seen. The flooring surrounding it seems anything but stable. We're saving, just for now. Okay. Okay, so B is the room full of dripping water. The room with E is the collapsed room. And F is broken with faint with wind blow. Okay, so that's the room that's been, yeah, that room's in bad shape. Well, I don't know if I have anything to do with the cricket, but okay. Oh, James. What? I'm good. Are you crazy? You can talk to the cricket. Are you kidding me? Doesn't seem to be much utility in fiddling with the pipework. Yeah, you don't. Okay, so I've dealt with those rooms. What's going on in rooms A and C? Not a lot is going on. You can find out what's making the horrible noise on the Panopticon in room 6A. That's it. Okay, so I am... Yeah. Yeah, okay, so... We don't need to read through all of that. I think we've basically... Nah. Okay. A piercing tone. Really, so what's going on with the pipes? Okay. Ah. Follow pipes. Oh, yeah. I by the time I get hints in the chat, I'm long since past where they would have been valid. That seems to happen a lot. Even in games when there's no load time or long load times, or I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Current patient numbers are stored in the Panopticon, available when you view their cell patient files in the archive. I need to go back to the freaking Panopticon again. Oh, boy. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So if I want to get the case file for Cleve, I should look at his cell, which is D, right? So 6D, I guess, is what I should put into the 6D, I guess, is what I should put into the archive, maybe? Okay. Great. Matte, black, and smooth, etc., etc. Examining the pyramid. It feels as expected. Nice. Unable to turn pyramid. Okay, well, let's examine the pedestal then. It is shaped like a pulpit. On its flat surface is a small panel, and delicately balanced at its top is an inverted. Okay, examine the panel. Ah. As the dial is set, the pedestal begins to hum, and the sound of turning gears can be heard. The tape beneath the panel's glass display suddenly advances from left to right, erasing the display, and then with a clunk it advances one further step, revealing a 6 imprinted on its surface. Turn dial to D. It now reads 6D. Cool. What? Let's get the scroll back. God dang. A dial and a small glass display. Okay, so it says 6D. Right, okay. Okay. So the triage says the dial is a non-living tool, archive interface, file number, input, file number, six-digit alphanumeric code. Completion. Completion equals retrieval. Great. So where do I get Clive's freaking file number? Okay. Yeah, got that, got that, got that, got that, got that. Got that. Huh. Right. Okay. Totally missed that. I really want to get out of here. I really do. Okay, the button clicks downward. I didn't notice the triangle button was even there in the description. I'm not very good at this, apparently. The button clicks downward, returns to its original state when released. Nothing more seems to happen for a moment, and then sudden clattering is emitted from the console slot, from which emerges a paper tape. A moment or two later, both the tape and the noise in the tape stop. Easily torn from the console, It reveals the symbols 56A142. Oh, F6A. 142. Blur. Right. Okay. How do I reset this thing? That's my question. Yeah. Cool. Turn dial to F. Turn dial to 6. 6? Okay. My numpad apparently does not exist in this game. Turn dial to A. Turn dial to 1. Turn dial to 4. Turn dial to 2. Cool. Yay! The humming of the pedestal suddenly increases in both volume and pitch. The tape spins forward, blanking the display. Then, searching, another advance. Then, file found. File F6A142 retrieval. The humming ceases, to be replaced with a quick-paced ticking, something like a watch. With an easy grace, 6 thin rods emerge from the side of the pyramid. Oh god, this is creepy. Growing quickly, they reveal a series of articulations along their length as they bend downwards. Within moments, they have revealed an impressive span, making a shape not unlike a spider. The lower set of legs, arms, pushes lightly against the base, freeing it. It turns with blinding speed, leaps, and it is gone, running along the walls on 4 legs, arms gripping at protrusions and flinging it further up. It stops somewhere far above, bracing itself on 2 legs. 2 others reach forward and grip, then pull, opening a distant drawer. 2 arms reach inward, flicking through files with blinding speed. Creepy. Then, finding what it seeks, it grab holds and pulls a folder close to its body. It then gently wraps its arms around to hold it tight. Closing the drawer, it quickly makes its way back, and, with a final tick, the pyramid settles itself back into the pedestal, holding out the retrieved folder on 2 articulated rods of brass. The tape advances. It now reads, "Retrieval complete." Spiders really love hexadecimal. The file easily slides out of the waiting brass arms. Silently, they retract, leaving the pyramid in its original state. Even that's a little creepy. Okay. The file is for Cleve Anderson. Excellent. Okay, personal information, patient history. Oh, this is going to go well. Cleve Anderson, age 23, 5'10", 12 stone, gray eyes, brown hair. Small burns on palms and inner forearms. These should heal within a few weeks. Possible scarring. Residence, 1428 Fleet Street, 2nd floor loft. Possessions, money, a few pound notes, a key, and identification papers. Processing, James Houlihan. Attending alienist, Dr. Thomas Xavier. Depositing, transporting, unlisted. Patient arrested for disturbance of the peace. Neighbors described screaming and raving at all hours. Found comatose in his flat. See personal information. Awoke in transit, mostly compliant though some resistance. Completely silent, refused to answer questions. Diagnosis, for specifics see attached. Dissociative disorder, acute schizophrenia with paranoid tendencies. Does not, however, seem dangerous to himself or others. Prognosis, to be kept under observation until such time as attending alienist decides on further treatment, uncertain of necessary duration. Departure date time 10/3/55, 5:50. Status deceased. Wait. 10/3/55. He died on March 10th. I don't think this game is using the proper British format for dates. 2300. A patient initially in comatose state. Brief physical examination reveals bruising along the upper arms and temple, burns on the palms and inner forearms. 2330. Patient awoke via use of smelling salts. Immediately catatonic, unresponsive to physical and auditory stimuli. 2350. Patient physically responsive to stimuli, though eyes are unnaturally dilated. Seems to be uncertain where he is. 2355. Patient allows more thorough physical examination. Seems to be suffering from symptoms in line with shock, exposure, and exhaustion. Constantly shivering as if from cold. 2400. Patient still refuses to speak. Examination of tongue throats reveals that he is physically capable of speech. Violently shakes head when asked to do so. Otherwise compliant and non-violent. Refuses to make any noise whatsoever, even to say ah during examination. Possible phobia towards noise. Seems fine with others making sound. Bite marks along inside of cheeks and along tongue. Possibly epileptic. Okay, so let's see. March 3rd. Placed patient in 6D and made sure to retain only key to corridor 6. Seemed best choice, all in all, at least it's structurally sound. Several of the rooms have completely collapsed. Patient completely compliant. No struggling whatsoever. He seemed to calm considerably once led through the panopticon to his room. Went to sleep almost immediately. Checked on patient early via Prism. Still sleeping. Went in with breakfast and a sheaf of papers. Asked if he knew how to read as he ate. He laughed. A short bark. His response was immediate. A look of horror and both hands clamped over his mouth. Brief panic attack. Heavy breathing. Calmed down soon after. Nodded and gestured for the papers. Communicated via writing for about an hour. Very basic answers to questions. Who you are, where do you live, what do you do, occupation, a machinist assistant. Refused to answer any deeper questions, simply stared. Some progress made, as the patient is at least answering questions. From a conversation this morning. Do you know why you're here? Penance. What do you mean penance? Have you done something wrong? Hubris. Pride? You think you're here because of your pride, Clive? What were you proud of? Patient stared for a long time before writing, doing something no one was meant to do. What is it, Clive? Cleve. What is it no one was meant to do? No response. Night. Made mistake of leaving pen in the patient's cell. Returned to find series of word engraved into the wall. Must have taken hours. Confiscated what barely remained of the writing instrument. Patient refuses to talk about what he wrote. March 5th. Wheels within wheels. The patient has built a complex inner world for his delusions to play out within. Complex and self-referential. At least part of these delusions revolve around an unseen they, a shadowy group that is paradoxically powerful and weak. Powerful enough to control the world, but so weak that Cleve was able to steal their secrets like some modern Prometheus. They had me brought here. Who did, Cleve? They control everything. Who are they? Where are they? Even here, they controlled the one that came before you until... Patient stopped at this, looked unsure. The one that came before me. What do you mean? They controlled who until what? Patient seemed to come to a decision. They killed him, you know. Tried to speak at this, but he kept writing furiously. Had him killed. I listened. I spied. They never knew I knew. I don't understand. They'll control you too, soon. No, they won't, Clive. You can trust me. Patient almost smiled at this. Then seemed struck with fear, melancholy. No, they won't. Right, Clive. Patient shook his head furiously. My hubris may kill us all long before then. Someone who came before me. Someone who is dead. Could he possibly be referring to Dr. Brand? Personal notes, March 6th. Yesterday's push seems to have been too much. Patient upset most of the day, crying, though still silent. The only event of notice happened when I brought dinner. I placed the tray down and attempted to get his attention, repeating his name several times. This apparently made him angry, and he seemed for a moment about to yell when he caught himself and grabbed a sheet of paper. Not Cleve. You're not Cleve? Who are you then? Not who. Not who? You're not... Not who are you? All right, what then? What are you? Patient seemed taken aback by the question, thought a long moment, and then wrote, something new. And how did this happen? How did you become something new? A look of utter disgust crossed his face. Infection. The patient refused to answer any more questions. March 7th. Complete change in mood again. Possible mood swings. Entered patient's cell to find him awake, alert, and rather happy to see me. Immediately signaled for a pen and paper. Patient proceeded to write long, rambling message thanking me for my understanding and referring to conversations we never had, but that were eerily probable. Tried explaining to the patient after reading it which portions had happened and which hadn't. Effective comment was almost immediate. Confusion, sorrow, then understanding. Patient began nodding and almost laughing with a sardonic smile on his face. Asked the patient to explain what had happened. Did he now understand the difference between things that happened in real life and those scenarios that played out in his mind? The patient stared for a long moment before writing almost angrily, "Is your magnetophone still broken?" "My magnetophone? How did you know I was an Aetheriist, Clive? I never mentioned it." "A different you did, then. To a different me." "To a different Cleve? Was he wrong, then?" "It's not broken. The signal's just not strong enough." A look of confusion and fear from the patient, and then, "You didn't say that last time." "Last time?" The patient's hand was shaking as he wrote, "Something has changed." This exchange broke something in the patient. In a rush, he began writing, trying to explain at least part of his delusions to me in detail. I've tried to summarize my understanding of it as best I can. The patient has, in his mind, somehow come unstuck in time. He speaks of it as if it were a malleable thing. He mentioned several times in his notes that he could save moments, as if in a delaying glass. He kept several of them with him and restored them as he wished, reliving the past, present, and future. That's adorable. When asked about the different me, he replied that he tried restoring several times, changing them, seeing different paths that resulted. This, he said, was the best he could find. I asked him if he had saved a moment from before all this happened, before his infection, back when he was simply Cleve. He said he'd restarted from time to time, but it only took him as far back as his new creation. The patient refused to speak any further of his infection. And now we have the in-game lore reason for saving, restoring, and restarting the game. That's adorable. Addendum. Couldn't sleep. Patient's remarks kept bounding around inside my head. His infernal fantasies have a nature not unlike the new engine science of fractals. The further I dig into them, the more there is to find. Of particular distress is the source of some of his information. I'm certain I never mentioned my hobbies to him, and Dr. Brand's unfortunate end has been kept out of the public eye. Ended up in the Panopticon in the early morning hours, with Corridor 6's keys in my hand. Wasn't certain at first what I was hearing when I brought up 6D. The system is far from perfect, and the chamber's acoustics hardly help cut down on echoes. Looking through the prism revealed the patient jerking spastically, almost rhythmically in his sleep. Patient was definitely speaking, and while some of the words, some English, some Greek, some Latin, seemed understandable, I believe what I was listening to was, in fact, glossolalia, random phonemes and syllables which my mind tried forming into some meaning. Conclusion uncertain. The patient is, again, clearly capable of speech. Perhaps some form of stroke or mental trauma has caused his speech to become unintelligible, and the patient's schizophrenic's delusions were built to explain this? This is a lot of reading. March 8th. Further investigation and discussion with the patient has resulted in what I believe is a complete structure and definition of his internal world. Patient has changed and is no longer himself. Patient claims change resulted from an infection. Patient is a glossolalic. I know I'm mispronouncing that. Although this is only revealed when he sleeps and cannot keep conscious control. I conclude that change that was the onset of glossolalia, though its source is still unknown. Patient claims the infections resulted from secrets he stole from a shadowy group he refers to only as them. I am still uncertain if this group is real and the patient has simply incorporated them into his delusions or if they were created out of whole cloth. The affection was never intended. It resulted from his hubris. Even they would never use it in such a way. Again, I am uncertain what this represents. Possibility. The patient has associated some action event that took place in his life concurrent with the onset of glossolalia. They're going to keep using that word, and I'm still going to keep mispronouncing it. Patient claims that the change caused time to become distorted for him. It is not a linear thing. This may be a metaphor for the internal mental confusion of which the patient's inability to communicate is a symptom. Patient refuses to discuss or even think on the infection, what it is, where it came from, if it may be catching. When confronted, the patient cuts off all communication, entering a semi-comatose state, often shaking the head spastically. Possible conclusion. The patient believes that his glossolalia is infectious and will spread if he speaks. This may be the key to eventual recovery. Perhaps by confronting him with a cognitive dissonance, specifically showing to him that my listening to him has not infected to me, he can begin to tear down the walls he has built around himself. Night. March 8th addendum. Witnessed patient's babbling and spastic movements again. Possibly they may be connected. Patient's speech definitely has a pattern about it which encourages the listener's attention and conscious attempt to find meaning. I have decided to attempt a direct intervention confrontation with the patient tomorrow. On a personal note, I must take James's advice and cut down my hours. While observing the patient, I noticed that my vision blurred and I experienced a distinct dizziness. When I shook it off, I found that I must have fallen asleep at some point. I checked the time and found that several hours had passed. Uh-oh. March 9th. This will be the case's final note. One would have thought I would have learned. Everything has told me one thing and I have thought another. My hubris is such as to put whatever Cleve thought he ever did to shame. Cleve is dead. Too far, too soon. My initial confrontation accomplished nothing. He refused to speak again of the infection and my interpretation of it. He almost laughed when I told him my theory of glossolalia, writing back that he was quite aware of what it was and no, that was not his problem. I think I did what I did next out of anger. When I told him about my nightly observations, he was clearly confused. Said that he knew no one had entered the chamber while he slept, that he had checked over several of his saved times. Which is when I explained the panopticon to him, pointed out the listening tube hidden in the corner of his cell. All of the blood drained from his face, and he once again entered his catatonic state, though this time with more vehemence. He spasmed and shook. He took a long moment before I realized what was different. He was speaking. A single word, yes, but speaking nonetheless. All he said was no, again and again. Shoot, it in a constant stream, I think. Yeah, again and again in a constant stream. He looked up as he realized what he was doing, and yet he didn't stop for a moment. He clawed at his mouth, bit it until it bled, but the word kept coming. And then it contorted in his throat to a snarl as he leapt at me. I am a fool. I thought him non-violent. I'm lost again. He was still weak, tired. Of course, I'd never had an orderly there with me, for fear of discovery, but I'd never bothered with any restraint whatsoever. Though weak, he was far stronger than he looked. We struggled as I attempted to force myself towards the door and help. I slipped from his grasp and was almost away when he leapt upon me again. I pushed back and kicked with all my might. I didn't understand the sound I heard until I turned around. He didn't have a chance. His head had hit the side of the metal door with such force that half his brains must have spilled out in a moment. The flicker of life in his eyes continued only for a moment as I dropped to my knees beside him. He managed to say only one thing, too late, before it went out forever, leaving a look of horror and oddly pity on his face. I write this now, and will seal up the file in the archives in some half-hearted penance, such as Cleve sought here. If sometime in the future my sins may find me out, then I shall pay for them. For now, I simply wish to forget about all of it. Well, as the file is closed, something nestled within its pages falls to the floor with a loud clang. Iron key. An old-fashioned, rusted iron key. Huh. I don't remember where we could use that. Okay, he doesn't want to talk about Dr. Brand. That's fine. Do. Saving the game again. I must be pretty close to the end of this. Or at least to an end to this. Ugh. Okay. Okay. So she's changed the lock, maybe? Asking Dumond about Clev. She gives a short, barking laugh. You know about him, do you? Clever boy, that one. Too clever by half. Always knew he'd come to a bad end. Okay. Alrighty. Grabbing the hint system. Okay. Office. Okay, so I can't get the optional data input system. Nice. They appear to be of little consequence. Sometimes appearances can be deceiving. Not this time, however. They're meaningless. You know what? Reading the hint system is just fun. Yeah, that's a good question about the ending, since I actually haven't found one yet. Plays the tin cylinders. You can turn off, turn on, etc. Yep. Did that. Got that. Got that. Got that. Yeah. Okay, so I think... So I've done everything to do with the office. Okay, I don't really need anything there. Pretty sure I've done with that. Done with that. Okay. So, what happens if I do try to type a... Never mind. The 5 endings are 1, 7, C, Frond, and Dennis. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay. Um... Okay. It... Hmm. Sorry, just technical difficulties on another screen. One moment. Okay, so... I should probably say something momentous. Okay. Oh, hey, there's an idea. Ooh. I hope you didn't get me killed. Or if you did get me killed, that was supposed to happen. Damone briefly glances over it, her smile tightening slightly. Fascinating little myths these boys are capable of, she concedes. Quick as a flash, her hand snakes beneath the counter, returning to slam a tiny brass object onto the countertop. A gift for the inquisitive. In a heartbeat, the thing is airborne, a tiny whirlwind of metallic wings and grasping arms. The pain is excruciating. If there are words for this reference point metaphor, they have not yet been written. Timeline date 1919 W.B. Yeats' Second Coming. It starts simply enough. Nothing occurs for the first week. It takes that long to incubate. The darkness drops again, but now I know. At the end of that time, James is quite sure he has followed in the footsteps of both Brand and Xavier, but bravely holds on. His bravery serves him poorly, as within 10 days' time he has managed to infect all of the orderlies. In another week, they have infected their families, their friends, and every patient in Bedlam. That 20 centuries of stony sleep. Reggie doesn't notice a thing. It's business as usual, and business is good. A week after the incubation, he has infected seemingly half of London, his clients, his barmaids, his family. We're vexed to a nightmare by a rocking cradle. Alexandra goes on with business as usual. By the time her incubation is complete, the Cypherists are once again meeting. Ironically, she infects the only group of people who could possibly have understood what was going on. It all goes fairly quickly after that. And what rough beast. It spreads, subtle and strange, sudden lost memories, new forms of action, and, universally, a reaching, grasping curiosity. Its hour come round at last. The lost begin to gather together, first in twos, then in growing crowds, to speak nonsense at one another. Slouches towards the language of the angels, of Babel, fills the streets of London, and then every city in the world. Bethlehem. The death shroud of humanity becomes the birth call of something new. Bethlehem? Inhaling its first breath, Bedlam, preparing to cry out, to be born, its name. Finished, completed, concluded, period, moment, point, space, time. Reached, found, end, finished, complete, possible, probably only one of many. Now further yet ahead, release Appendix B, accessible, available, accessible, open. Restart, period, first, revisit, restore, back, recall, release, undo. And so that's, I guess, the first ending of the game. Thanks for that, Snowfox. So the question that I have next is, how long would it take me to find the rest of the endings? And would it take long enough to fill up another stream? Because I'm not sure. Interesting, though. That's... Bethlehem. Yeah, more or less, Dronin, that's exactly what happened. Memetically spread virus via knowledge. I've seen stuff like this before. I mean, I think there was an entire issue of Global Frequency about this, that was a cute issue, where like alien words rewrite the minds of the people that hear them, and so one of the agents has to find some way to both stop what's happening and prevent herself from getting infected. So which ending was this one then, Snowfox? Was this C? Or what? I'm guessing because it says Appendix B. Oh, cool. Appendix B, diurnal period cycle A0B67. Anticipation for the end, for the beginning, which are both here and now and always have been. The great work is done, is being done, will be done, and the time, point, place of opening draw comes leaves closer. We, he, she, they, I, me, wait, tense, happy, joyful, and ready, very ready to reach, grasp beyond what is here now and what we, I, were, will be. Fear of unknown beyonding, which I was, there in the place sounds echoes, and to which we was will return, and will I know when I when we see, hear, feel one another? Father self, you, I, me, know, me, I, you, as what I am, have become? Will I stop no being, as I, and is such a thing, state, place to be scared, afraid? To be subsumed, absorbed, created, born into what I was, could be? Be is tense, happy, joyful, we, I, or fear we, I? Regret. Over loss of what was before I grew, stretch, born as I, what was behind me, I, flesh, yes, body, before, grew, stretch, born as I. So much we, I, know / not know, is there, not there, and lost and empty, sad. To say to among myself, to among you, you, myself, ourselves, to being, having, sorry, and sad, and saying goodbyes to what we, I, you, was, were, will be. Anticipation, fear, regret. I is what were, I is, am, now are. Yes. But soon, be, feel, something, pause, stop, break, more. This makes no sense, but is somehow better than reading comments online. It makes sense to me, but possibly because I am very tensually disfocused at the best of times. And with that, I think it's about 10:06. You need most of them to make sense of it. Well, tell you what. It's 10:06 and I really should be going to bed. But Uh, let's. So what do I all have here? Okay. Yeah, I've got everything here. Yeah, this is... I am inordinately pleased with myself for having gotten through a lot of that without stumbling over it terribly. I'm not really sure what to make of that, except that I've dealt with characters like this on a fair basis, so let's see. Yeah, let's walk into street. That's of no importance. Where am I? Okay. Okay, so I have not gotten into Damon's basement yet. I'm not sure if I actually can. That might be one of the locked endings right now. Okay, we don't need to read hints here. Smithfields. Oh. 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 So, huh. So the hints are telling me to do something that I wouldn't ordinarily have considered doing, which is to murder Dumond. So let's try. Alexandra leans intently over her device, so focused that she does not feel the hand wind itself under her ponytail until it is almost flat against her head. She looks up and gasps as fingers tangle themselves tightly in her hair. She tries simultaneously to strike out with her tool and pull herself free, but there is not enough time to do either before his head is slammed into the countertop again and again. She stops struggling and falls heavily against the countertop when she is released, her head oozing with blood. She spits defiantly, a trail of blood and spittle dripping from her lips. Monster, she accuses with her last raspy breath. Monster! No! Ah, the corpse of a woman leans over the counter, slowly dripping blood onto the floor. Also seen are a heavy key and a small pin. A circular pin depicting a tree with 10 branches. Each branch and the leaves that hang from them are made up not of lines, but of a series of ones and zeros. Take heavy key. Okay. Why gone missing part whole silent self? The cold creeps a little further. I didn't think to do that. Okay, one sec. Cease existence, no, null, gone, how, why? I appear to have freaked out my viral companion by causing the ceasing of another. The cold has teeth now. It stretches, unfolding like a flower. Category non-living. Metallic object utilization symbol. Communication via semantic meaning. Part code. Secret, occult, occluded, meanings equals cipherists. I just unlocked the door. It doesn't seem to fit the lock. Stop pain-killing, hurting children's cells. Stop. It will not be denied. It reaches, breathes. I'm not getting into the basement before this ending happens, am I? Dang it. I have so many keys though. I have the copy of the key, I have the heavy key at the Ugh. Force, control, survive, protect. Stop, stop, stop! It is almost here. Almost. Primitive key. Okay. Shoot. And that doesn't seem to fit the lock. Yes, yes, have take all now. Take force, stop now. Yes, yes. Cleave's words somehow echo across the world. Too late. Too late. If there are words for this reference point metaphor, they have not yet been written. It starts simply enough, etc., etc. I think this is the same one. Huh. Okay. So somehow that ended me on the same ending as before. Okay, it's 10:15, and I really need to get some sleep. Yeah, let's do A. Sure. Sure. Show me A. Behind door number 10. Wait, I don't know why I said that. Okay. Failed null restore back confusion. No. I typed the wrong thing again. Okay, what do I do? I'm in the office. Oh, there we go. It's as simple as that, then. As the thought leaps outward, so does the body. And then all is open air and blowing wind, and the moment stretched, elongated along some impossible axis, one choice out of a million possibilities outstretched in flight. If there are words for this, reference point metaphor, they have not yet been written. Timeline, date 1919, W.B. Yeats' Second Coming. And we're going through this poem again. The ground is a living thing now, leaping, spinning. The darkness drops again, but now I know. Rushing forward in the slow infinity it takes to reach you? That 20 centuries of stony sleep. Is this a penance, then, to die for one's sins, or the sins of another? We're vexed to nightmares by our rocking cradle. Whose hubris is greater, the sinner or the Savior? And what rough beast, and the weaker thing within whoever you, me, made this choice? Its hour come round at last, has only enough time to barely begin, voicing its disapproval, slouching towards, as the ground, Bethlehem, swiftly flies, Bethlehem? Upwards, Bedlam, towards, to be born, its final home. Finished, complete, concluded, period, moments, space, time points, etc. Okay. Appendix A. Source: Legends of the Illuminati. From Solomon to Richard the Lionhearted to the modern day. Robert Osprey, Hodder, Stoughton, and Stoughton, London, 1975. This is the best ending. Because I don't end up destroying the world, I'm guessing. Of the many bastard children of the line that would be the self-proclaimed Cypherists of the late 17th century, a small movement and based in many of the same traditions, numerology and the Temple of Solomon most prominently, as the Masons, they did not claim a direct correct connection to the Templars, but rather inserted that what had been found on the Temple Mount during the Crusades was the mathematical means by which the one true Torah and all that implied, i.e. the true name of God, was to be found. In their brief flowering, they remained chiefly concerned with information and its permutation as a means of enlightenment or path to power over a universal force. Information, they stated, was the basis of all reality and could be manipulated, much like the individual letters of the Torah, by means equivalent to the Kabbalists' use of gematria. Okay, see, I've learned a lot of this weird occult crap over the years, but yeah. A strange mix of modern science and ancient religion, at the heart of the Cypherist creed was the machine, the analytical engine. Again, I understand Kabbalah. I knew about cults in the Victorian time. I got the Yeats reference. So yeah, this is all falling into place really well. A strange mix of modern science and ancient religion, at the heart of was the machine, the analytical engine. Used as a metaphor for the universe of Newtonian clockwork physics, the machine's rotations were akin to the spinning of prayer wheels, manipulating data in an endless chant. For all their proclamations of wisdom, however, they amounted to very little. By the 18th century, they had all but died out. Many members had simultaneously been Masons. Some claim the Cyphers to be a splinter group from the very beginning, although the author seriously doubts this. And within several decades, they had more. All but and within several decades, they had been completely subsumed into the larger group. Rumors about the Cypherists still abound to the present day. Some claim they faked their own end, much like the Templars before them. Others state that their brief surfacing in the public view was unplanned. That they had, in fact, been in one form or another the guiding force behind the Illuminati since before the time of the Crusades. Such theories go on to state that the Cyphers' fervent belief in Kabbalic ideals proves such, and have been the manipulating force of much of history back to biblical times. Of course, in these enlightened days, no one believes a word of it. You just couldn't resist that little Douglas Adams dig at the end. Yeah, basically. Basically that. For alternative reads on similar subjects, I suggest The Difference Engine by William Gibson and Bruce Sterling. Um, or perhaps Foucault's Pendulum by Umberto Eco. And for now. Oh, wow, it quit right out. It went away right smart. Snow Crash, yes. I never actually finished that one. I think I got about as far as the weird watchdog thing, and I just never picked it up again. Wasn't that it was bad, I just kind of stopped at that point. Anyway, so that's been Slouching Towards Bedlam. Um, I don't think I'll pursue the extra endings. I don't think it would take up enough time for a whole stream. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. Just to tie it all off at the end, maybe we'll go through and examine the other endings next week. But I think we're going to end up going back into Daggerwrath soon. But until such time as we do that, this has been... Well, I can't call it the Coco Yote stream, can I? This wasn't a Coco game. This has been Slouching Towards Bedlam, which, in its own weird way, was a sort of nativity, and thus festively appropriate. Yeah, I'm interested in the lore, but I'm not sure that me delving into the lore is going to be as interesting as, for a stream. Thank you. You're welcome. But yeah, so there we go. I like I said, I originally came into this with the intention of doing something creepy for the solstice, and while I had seen the parallels in the poetry and such, the fact that it turned out to be kind of a nativity play played in well to the season. So, Festivus for the rest of us, yes. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Boxing Day, Happy New Year, cool Yule, crazy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, and Festivus for the rest of us to all. And hopefully we all sleep well after that. So, have a good night, guys, and thanks for coming out.